First of all, kudos to Ivanka Trump, who has made it her mission to destroy this vile, evil, multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise, crimes for which death by slow torture is exponentially more mercy than these scumbags deserve. Legislation and harsh sanctions won't prevent these crimes from continuing, but the death penalty will take recidivism rates to zero. The following video is reposted on all my social media channels with permission from Will Kinesche. Link in the description for this video used here. Subscribe to his channel for updates and more content on this subject.
Back to the issue of the court and really the power of the judge in the court who sits on the bench, right, or the bank. Now, we've heard this Kids for Cash case, yes, right? Describe a little bit of what that entailed, because obviously there's a lot of corruption that's going on in this, just in this one case that's come out, let alone obviously a much bigger system that might be permitting this. But explain what happened with that Kids for Cash.
Well, Kids for Cash was out of Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania has so much corruption that has been uncovered, and perhaps because one situation such as Kids for Cash got exploited, then everything got exploited. Pennsylvania is one of those little hidden places where a lot can go on. So that particular judge was sending these children, deeming them to have behavioral defiant issues, and sending them to a juvenile delinquent facility. This juvenile delinquent facility that he would send them to, lo and behold, he was part owner of. So, Kids for Cash.
Kind of a conflict of interest there?
I would say so.
In this case, it was actually a perfect marriage of interests.
Absolutely, and lots of money. And I feel very confident to say that the money that they have been able to find and deem him as having collected couldn't begin to touch on the money that has actually gone through his hands. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of payoffs that go on.
This is the Will Kinesche Show, in search for truth and justice with yours truly, Will Kinesche. We're still in episode 2 of Pizzagate, which is the CPS foster care system. This is part 2 of CPS foster care system. It will deal with Kids for Cash, where you have corrupt judges putting children, taking them out of people's homes, putting them into the CPS foster care system and or into a CPS foster care system facility, and making millions of dollars. And by making these millions of dollars, that's where you have the Kids for Cash. Children were being sold out for cash to put in line into the pockets of these judges. So the beginning video that you saw was of Tammy Stefano, the executive director of the National Safe Child Coalition, who was being interviewed and brought this issue up of Kids for Cash, the corruption in the CPS foster care system. And I decided to delve into it a little bit more, and I have several video clips that explain in detail of the millions of dollars that was transformed, how it got started, how it ended up, and about these judges and corrupt businessmen going to jail, some of them as much as 23 years. So hang on, folks, because we got a good one for you.
Everybody shout!
Kids for Cash. That's what authorities say was the bottom line of a diabolical plan. Even more shocking were the identities of the two men behind it.
They were men in black, men with the power to take away your freedom and your future. Jim Avila reports that they're accused of using that power to get rich. Rich on the backs of children.
Explodes when people hear that men they elected and trusted to judge their children had profited off their incarceration, sent the kids to a private jail owned by cronies who bribed the judges. Prosecutors say they were in cahoots to then keep the jail filled with children who did not belong there.
Thank you.
Judge Chivarella and fellow Judge Michael Conahan had devised a scheme to pad their pockets on the backs of children. First, they shut down the old juvenile detention center by cutting off public funds, choking it out of existence, and then replaced it with a cash cow, a privately owned facility built by the judge's cronies for $58 million taxpayer dollars. The judges cut $2 million in secret kickbacks.
They sold their oath of offices to the highest bidders.
But there is more. The judges were not just corrupt. To keep all those new $300 a day beds filled with children, the government says Judge Chivarella did something awful, something unthinkable. Prosecutors say he sold the children into custody.
Ordered juveniles into these detention facilities despite the recommendation of juvenile probation officers that the child not be in prison.
You should be charged with child endangerment.
They are mobbed by a swarm of reporters, photographers, and parents calling them names.
Two Pennsylvania county judges walked solemnly today into U.S. District Court in Scranton. These judges found themselves on the other side of the bench, pleading guilty to a brazen and profitable scheme. Mark Chivarella and Michael Conahan faced fraud and tax charges for allegedly taking $2.6 million in kickbacks for sentencing thousands of juveniles to detention facilities run by two privately owned companies. Here's how prosecutors say it worked. Young offenders, often with no prior record, were brought before these judges for charges as minor as stealing change from cars or writing prank notes. The judges shipped them off to private detention facilities, which got county money to house them. In exchange, the judges allegedly received money for each offender. They also received payoffs for the initial construction and operation of these juvenile jails.
So before I get into a little bit more elaboration on the videos that you just saw, I want to ask you if you would please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you'll get notification when I put these episodes out of the Pizzagate series, because there's going to be a lot of them, folks, and it's going to have a lot of good information. With that being said, so where we are, we're in Pennsylvania, in Luzerne County, and you had two judges. And these two judges, the first thing that they did was they took away state funding for the local facility and had it shut down. They hooked up with these two guys. They were Robert Miracle and Robert Powell. So Judge Civarella and Judge Conahan, Mark Civarella and Judge Michael Conahan, ended up getting state funding, tax money of $58 million or $59 million to have a brand new facility built. Now, this is a private facility, and being the fact that it was a private facility, the parents had to pay out of pocket for some of the $300 a day that it costs to keep the child in there. So not only was the money coming in from the state, there was also private money coming in from individuals having to pay to keep their kids locked up into a facility that they didn't belong to start with. For getting that done, the two judges, they were given $2.6 million. After that, they had to keep the beds full to justify the facility being there. They sent over 3,000 kids to this facility for literally nothing, as you saw in the report. Just stupid, dumb things that children do, and they were taken away from their families and put into this facility, and it was all about the Benjamins. It was all about the money. And that's a lot of children to be taken away from their homes, 3,000 children. So this is what we call kids for cash. Judge Civarella was sentenced to 28 years to prison. Judge Conahan was sentenced to 17 years. Just to show you how the system protects the businessmen who have the real money, the two business guys, Miracle and Powell, one went to jail for a year, the other one went to jail for 18 months. This right here is protecting the turf, putting the judges in jail for 18, 20 some years, but the guys that were really behind it, that was pulling the strings as far as the money, they didn't get hardly no time at all. Now, also keep in mind that $300 a day, you had 3,000 kids going in there from these judges. Judges were getting kickbacks on that too. So it was way more than $2.6 million. So I just wanted to do this quick excerpt on the CPS foster care system. This is just one instance of the corruption that takes place, because in the first part, We had Senator from Georgia, Nancy Schaefer, who ended up being murdered for her taking a stance and being a critic on the foster care system throughout the United States, was talking about the $40 billion that comes from the federal government every year into the 50 states. And here is where some of that $40 billion went. So folks, I want to thank you so much for listening to my channel. If you would like, share, subscribe, hit that notification button so you get notified as I put these reports out, these shows out, and support my channel either at Patreon or my GoFundMe page. Thank you again. This has been In the Search for Truth and Justice.
So we can get down. Now stamp your feet so you can feel the sound.
And ladies and gentlemen, on a related issue, please stay tuned and subscribe to this channel for the forthcoming non-existent abandoned farmhouse. This is going to be a blockbuster of personal experience 25 years ago into this nefarious cabal of child trafficking and judicial abuse. You will not want to miss this. I don't know when the time is going to be right, but it is going to be disclosed, and it's going to put at least two other judges and some cops in prison for a long, long time. This is Dave from Inglorious Patriots, Net for Truth USA. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our backup channels, Net for Truth USA 2 Patriot channel, BitChute.com/net4Truth USA, and drop.space/ Net4Truth USA. We fly so close to the target, we are on our 5th fighter jet. We will be relentless and persistent until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.